Space, the final frontier.
I'm just kidding. Stay tuned. Reggie here, and I want to welcome you to another one of my videos. In this video, we are going to take a look at some amazing cosmic keys. And in my mind, these are must-have books if you are a fan of the cosmic landscape. And I will tell you that I have been obsessed with all things cosmic for a very long time. And while I don't recall where it all started, I know where it started, at least for comics. And we're going to look at that book in just a moment. What I will tell you is that I don't know if these are the types of books that people should invest in or speculate on or any of that other kind of stuff. Ultimately, you will have to decide that for yourself. But what I will tell you is that these books are fantastic, and they are fantastic for lots of reasons. As I just alluded to, I do not remember where my interest in the cosmic stuff started, whether it was movies or cartoons or something like that. But I remember where it started with comics, and it started with one specific book that was released in 1990. And it was this book right here. This is Thanos Quest issue number 1 by Jim Starlin. This book blew my mind. It blew my mind, both part 1 and part 2. And I was captivated. I was captivated as a result of reading this book and just went on a quest. If it was related to Thanos, the cosmic landscape, Infinity Gems, Infinity Gauntlet, Atom Warlock, it did not matter. I was buying it and I was reading it and I was loving it. And I said that my commitment, if you will, to the cosmic landscape with comics started with this book. I legitimately mean this actual book. This book came back in 8.5. This is the one from my childhood. This is my original copy that I still have. I have issue number 2 in a box behind me. And this book, I did not have it pressed or anything. This is the OG. This is the OG for me right there. Thanos Quest issue number 1, a really cool book. I should probably get a high grade copy of that. I feel like I should do that maybe in another video. From that book, it led me to several others, as I alluded to. One of, I think, the most impactful potentially, this one right here. Just a fantastic cover for so many reasons. The Infinity Gauntlet issue number 1 through 6 just blew my mind. Absolutely enjoyed it. And I have multiple copies of 1 through 6. This one is actually a newsstand. I can't remember where I picked it up, but just a really cool book. I mean, I even have some that are signed by George Perez, and I think some signed by Jim Starlin from back in the day. Some of them came with the 100K collection. Like, whenever I see those books, I get those books. And again, I probably should get some higher grade because I definitely don't have any high grade of them. So I'll show you some other books that are hitting here on the table. Some of them have sentimental value. Some of them are just really awesome key comics and grails for a lot of people as well. There is a lot of noise out there in the market about this one right here. This book needs no introduction. This is Marvel Superhero Secret Wars issue number 1, and this one was actually signed by Jim Shooter back in 2001. I bought this book. I think I bought this one book already slabbed. I really wanted a 9.8 of this book, and I had a lot of copies of it that were not 9.8s, but I went ahead and just decided to pull the trigger on a graded copy, one that was also signed. I think the price was right on this one. So just a really cool book, and fingers crossed that when this show or movie or whatever it is that they're working on at the MCU comes out, fingers crossed that it lives up to this. Like, I don't know if that movie is based upon Secret Wars or Secret War, but one could say that arguably Secret Wars was one of Marvel's most successful crossover events. I think it was also one of the first as well. This next book I'll show you is one that I went hunting for a long time. I have a lot of raw copies of this book in the collection, and I actually did a video similar to this like 5 years ago on Cosmic Keys, and it took me from that time to this time to really find a high grade copy of this book. It is specifically Secret Wars 2, issue number 3. Now, a lot of folks will say, well, what makes this book special? Because there's nothing on the label if you look at it. In my mind, this is the first appearance of the Beyonder. The Beyonder actually appears, if you will, throughout Secret Wars, but he appears first as a rift in the sky and then as an amalgamation of other characters, and I do not think that he takes his own form until this book right here, Secret Wars 2, issue number 3. And again, I have maybe 8 copies of this raw, and none of them are 9.8 worthy, so I had to go out and buy a 9.8, and I do not regret it. Again, nothing on the label to that effect. That is my belief. We'll see whether the market agrees with that in time. This next book is a really cool book, and I alluded to this character early on. I read a lot of Infinity War and all that other stuff that came out that was actually featuring this character. This is Thor 165, the first full appearance of him, also known as Warlock. And I did not get this book until much, much later in life, but just a really cool book. And I could probably tell you that I actually have 2 copies of this. I would say that I could probably do a multi-part video just looking at cosmic books because my commitment runs deep. And it might run deep with you guys as well. Next up, I'll show you what I think is the next 2 I think are just grails by and large for a lot of people. Like, they are universally accepted, I think, as a major key comic. This is Fantastic Four issue number 48, the first appearance of Silver Surfer and Galactus as cameo. I have 2 copies of this book in the collection. This is a 4.0 with off-white pages. I kick myself often because I did not buy higher grade copies of this book when I had a chance back in 2018. I think this book has been in the collection since then, and I wish that I had bought higher grade copies, but I'm very happy with the fact that I actually own the book, and I'm very thankful for that because there's a lot of people out there that want that book that do not have it, so I'm very thankful. I think I have a 4.0, and I also have I think a 3.0 or a 3.5. I cannot remember. This next book, I did go a little bit higher on this one, partly because it was just cheaper at the time. Like, I was being cheap. I was being cheap. I admit it. This one I bought graded. This is Fantastic Four number 49, the first full appearance of Galactus. And again, just a major key comic, no doubt about it. I don't know that anyone would argue with that, but just a really awesome book that, again, I've had in the collection for quite some time. This next book is one, I think I sent this one in to be graded. I think I bought this one raw, and I originally bought this one and the next one years ago when I did my first video on Cosmic Keys. I think it was like at least 4 years ago, possibly as many as 5 years ago. This is the first appearance of Eternity. And there's also, I think also the first appearance, it's a Dormammu appearance, not a first appearance of Dormammu, but it is a first appearance of Eternity. This is Strange Tales issue number 138. A really cool old school book. When was this book released? 1965. 1965 for this one. Little Nick Fury on the cover. Back in the day, these issues, this Strange Tale issue was half and half. This one is half Nick Fury and half Doctor Strange. So that's basically how they had to manage things back then when they had some distribution challenges. They were limited on titles, and so they had to combine characters and or they had to combine to figure out which was going to be popular to ultimately get their own title. I can never remember the dates or the times or the issues where those things happen, but there's facts there. There are some facts there. This next book, I think, is a really striking cover, in my opinion. I find this cover to be compelling. This is Strange Tales issue number 158. This is the first full appearance of the Living Tribunal. The Living Tribunal's first full appearance right here. Again, this is all about the cosmic stuff, and I have only really begun scratching the surface. Just a really cool book. And he had an appearance, what was it, in the Doctor Strange 2 movie? It was like a super quick snapshot of his head. It was really cool, don't get me wrong. The very last book that I'm going to show you, because I had to limit myself to 10, at least for the first video, hint, hint, there could be more coming if you guys comment below. This last book that I'm going to show you, again, I think is just a major grail, a major key comic. But it also, this particular team has the potential to open the door to a lot of what we just looked at a few seconds ago in a lot of different ways. Fantastic Four, issue number 1. This one is a 2.5 with cream to off-white pages, which is terrible, just terrible. But I own it, and I am thankful that I was able to buy this book a couple of years ago. And again, this team right here, if done right, has the potential to make a lot of this and so much more come to reality and come on the, appear on the small screen and the big screen. I cannot wait for the introduction of the Fantastic Four, as long as they do it right. So there you have it. That is my first installment. Again, there could be more. First installment of major must-have cosmic keys. And I definitely want to encourage you guys to sound off in the comment section. I know that I left a lot of stuff out. There's so much more that I could include. Let me know what I missed. And if you guys are interested in seeing a follow-up video, be certain to comment. Let me know what you think. And if you are watching this video right now and you haven't subscribed to the channel, I want to invite you to do so right now. Just tap that button, turn on notifications, and that way you won't miss out on any of the content that comes out from my channel. If you need to reach out to me, feel free to do so on Instagram at Regie Collects. Take care.